Okay, guys, breaking news here for WWE. So Ric Flair has confirmed that he won't be able to attend WWE WrestleMania on Busted Open. So we hear from him. We have his exact quote. Now, it's trippy because he's like, I will be there. And I'll be there. I'll be there. But then he was since informed, I guess he can't be there because of his contractual ties to AEW. So again, Tony Khan just has people under contract. Rita Chatterton, Ric Flair. Fucking, he just has people under contract we don't even know about. And it's so vague. We don't know like who's allowed to do what and why. So this will lend itself to the mass exodus from there, especially for some of these young talents, you know?
If there's anybody that should be.
Shout out LaGreca, Bubba, Busted Open, and Ric Flair. Woo! Woo's in the chat.
There to present that championship to John Cena, it would be you.
Yeah.
Like it somehow, some way you should be involved in what's going on at WrestleMania 41.
Well, I wish I could say that I was, but I'm not. And I understand why, and I'm not mad about it by any means.
Why wouldn't they want you there?
No, it's not. They wouldn't let because I work for another company.
Oh, the simplicity of you just being with another company.
Yeah,
okay. I thought there was something else that you meant by that.
No, absolutely not. I'm sure I would be more than welcome. It's competition, which we've all agreed. It opens up more opportunities for the guys to work in that. But I would absolutely, if I wasn't working with Tony, I would absolutely be there. They couldn't keep me out of the building.
Do you have an opinion of what went down in the ring?
That's pretty interesting, you know?
Last Friday night on SmackDown with Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton.
Well, I have an opinion, but I don't really want to voice it. I can just say this. It's I don't know. It's very sensitive. I didn't like it, but wrestling's wrestling, and Undertaker said it best. The Queen came back and regained her crown.
I'm just surprised that was brought up the way that it was on live TV on SmackDown Friday night. If there wasn't a conversation beforehand to make sure that both people were comfortable with that promo.
I don't know the answer to that. I would assume that there was no discussion of that before, but I don't have any idea, guys. I'm not.
So he said he would assume that there wasn't a discussion beforehand. Awful. Your take? No.
I'm not privileged to know that, but I
understood.
I would imagine that they probably didn't discuss that.
I don't think it was discussed fully, but that doesn't mean Tiffy couldn't have scripted out and practiced her lines, and they both knew, hey, we're going to go shoot on each other, kind of. Because people agree to that. Like Punk and Seth and shit, when they go out there, like Drew McIntyre, they've discussed, like, hey, I'm open season, like, we hate each other, you know, and we go out there and, like, are we going to rehearse it? Or we, you know? And I'm sure if there's anything too crazy, they'll clear it with each other. But maybe they don't anymore, though. And maybe that's part of Charlotte. Like, because Charlotte likes to go off the rails a bit, whether Awful likes to admit that or not. Charlotte likes to go off the rails a bit. And so maybe she was the one who's like, no, let's call it in the ring type shit. And then Tiffy's like, okay. And then she could have scripted and practiced her shit in front of the mirror a million times.
And who knows? You know, wrestling, guys, nobody gets it. Wrestling is a tough business. And it's very personal, and things are handled a lot differently backstage now than they were in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, so shout out Ric Flair, man.
If there's
okay, so Swerve got a few Swerve chants at NXT, which we're going to talk more about. I'm not going to review it, but we've got some Jordynne Grace stuff to cover, as you guys can see from the thumbnail and the title of the video. A few Swerve chants at NXT. They were loud. Booker was laughing. He had it coming, man. And Vic's leaning into it too. Let's listen to it again. Yeah, so that's pretty funny, I guess. He has it coming though. So they announced this and a bunch of people started melting down too. No one can be happy for shit anymore. So the Ugandan giant, Kamala, is getting inducted into the legacy wing, which is the same thing as being inducted, right? It's just like, are they going to have everyone's kids come in and do speeches for like an hour, right? Here's the thing, at least these people are being brought in now and are being honored, and people are mad at this, but look at WWE World. You don't think they're going to have a legacy wing at one of these events, like when they set these things up for WrestleMania week and stuff? You don't think they're going to have stuff to commemorate them, and these people won't be remembered? And it's just so crazy. Like, I'd rather Ivan Koloff, Dory Funk Sr., and the Ugandan giant Kamala Harris. It's so funny. It's just so funny, the parallels between the names, guy. I can't help myself ever. Yeah, dude, I'm just happy that they're all being like honored in some way, that rather than not, and like they'll have their family there and treat them well and everything. And here's the thing, they'll be remembered in video games. Maybe there's a documentary about the Funk family that can come out now or something. Maybe you guys know, maybe there's like a Legends or a nostalgia deal that goes to the families that you assholes don't know about right now, right? Maybe like their kids get hey, here's $500 a month or something. Even that, man, even that can go into like a savings you give to your kids when they're 18, their grandkids or whatever. Maybe they have grandkids behind, or like grandkids as grandkids if you're Dory Funk Sr. or whatever. You guys get what I'm saying, right? It's so crazy. Even Bret Hart says this too. He's like, it's wild that like, Owen's wife wouldn't want him, like his legacy, to just be remembered the way it should be, man, especially with all the stuff WWE does with the, the memorabilia and how they present the history and all that, and the tape libraries. That's what Bret Hart even has to say. And it's shitty that we'll hear the first comment. Why can't they just be regular inductees? Because this is why. You sickos, you wackos will then cry and complain that the Hall of Fame was 12 hours long and people had 80-minute long speeches. And then you'll complain that there's too many people being inducted into the Hall of Fame and, oh, this guy's speech was boring and blah, blah, blah. And then you guys will roast it on Twitter and take jabs at it. Fickle, man. This is why. Okay. It's not like their families won't be there. It's not like we won't remember them, but I believe we still have Typhoon around to talk. We have Lex Luger, who's going to stand up out of his goddamn wheelchair and accept his Hall of Fame ceremony like a gangster. We're going to have the Game Triple H here to talk. Some of these people, it's like, okay, let's get their families out there, and and we have to start at the top. Like, is Terry Funk in the Hall of Fame? I don't know if he actually is, but like Dory Funk should be. If, Dory Funk Sr. should be if Terry Funk is. But anyways, shout these guys out. I'm giving them a big round of applause here at PWT. And let's acknowledge our legends. And I'm dropping a bunch of F-bombs, but I'm riled up now, okay? Acknowledge me! I get riled up about this, okay? We shouldn't be upset that they're honoring legends. So moving along now. So here is Jordynne Grace. Now, people love to jump on her because I guess they don't like her the way she is on X and Twitter. I've followed her for a long while. I don't, I think she said something about Benoit that pissed everyone off a long while. I think that was like right before I was like really into the IWC, to be honest, or maybe I had a PWT account at that time, but it laid dormant for like a year or two before I actually used it for anything,
I don't know.
So I don't know if I was around then or not, but she like pissed everyone off on Twitter a couple times. And I don't know about all of that, but either way, she went for a dive. And I want to defend Jordynne because, listen, man, Nathan Frazier did the same shit on Raw or on SmackDown with Rey Fenix. And when I said that, Awful tried to shame me. No, I'm just
smashed your needle.
He just tried to blow up my spot and be like, oh, you're going to blame that on Nathan Frazier, like for having the stumble dive on Rey Fenix. And I'm like, yeah, dude, his knee caught the rope a little. And he's a flippy guy who does that shit all the time. No one's jumping down his throat. But then Jordynne does the same thing and everyone's jumping down her throat. Now, I don't think Jordynne the Juggernaut Grace should be doing dives. How about that? I agree with everyone who agrees with me on that. We're united. Okay? She shouldn't be doing dives ever. Maybe like one time a year, you know? That being said, that's not why she up this dive, because she's a woman and stuff. Like, you just have everyone jumping on this. So you have Glenn Gilberti here, who's like, this is common sense. Females can't reach the necessary speed to do the suicide tope without catching your feet on the ropes enough of times to make it a safe move to execute. Feet on the ropes enough of times to make it a safe move. Okay, Glenn, come on now. Proofread this shit. No, it's just Twitters, whatever. But it's just Tweedles, you know, Tweedles and Tweedledums. But Glenn, this is not debatable. It's facts. Now, I agree. Do women hit the dives as well as the men and shit? No. I think there's enough examples of, but that's because just if we're talking about physicality, right? Men have a little more spring to their step. I'm not, hey, WNBA, NBA, who's dunking more? Who's right? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So that's all. They got a little more hops, right? Physically, they're able to, you know, men are stronger, faster, all that shit, right? So I do agree that factors into the pro wrestling aspect of it, but everybody botches. I'm more critical of, like, listen, man, you do these moves a million times, as we're going to cover. Jordynne Grace actually responds to this video and takes it lightly. She sort of makes fun of herself in a little bit. I think her response was awesome as well. We'll watch this clip here from NXT. But the point I'm making is, like, if you do a body slam 10 million times, what are the, like, one of them might go wrong. She does this dive, and she shows plenty of examples of her doing it. And she's trying to show everybody what she can do to get the NXT universe behind her. But if I was her, man, just save the shit for Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver's coming up. Wait and then do a sick dive, you know? Like, don't almost, you know, she really almost looked like she hurt herself here. But Nathan Frazier did the same thing. Nobody said shit. He caught his knee, landed on Phoenix funny. Phoenix's leg bent all awkward, and nobody's yelling at Nathan Frazier. You know, I was the only one saying anything about it. But they want to jump on Jordynne because of her social media presence. And I guess for Glenn, because he's like, women can't dive. I just disagree. I think enough women do it now, especially in WWE. You know, women weren't allowed to do German suplexes for a while. Can Lyra not hit a German on it? Like, yeah, dude, we're good now. The women are at a level, most of them, where they're doing shit. Like Sol Ruka's more innovative than a lot of dudes, you know? So yes, they can dive and shit. Just, but with Jordynne, yeah, I am just critical of, like, whoever okayed that, or if she just called it in the ring. You're in WWE now. You don't got to do that, okay? Oh, I want to do it. Great, and I don't want to tell you what you should or not want to do, but that's like Undertaker diving over the top rope. He doesn't do that every match. He does it at the big matches, and he does it where it's gonna matter the most. Because why? We're creating moments here. You know what I mean? Now this is just like, you're new to NXT, you this up, and then people are going to remember this. Now it is pro wrestling, very forgiving. People are very forgiving in pro wrestling. Just ask Ric Flair, you know? People forgive, but yeah, people jump down her throat. Let's watch this here, and I hope WWE doesn't drop the mighty hammer on us again.
Either way, it was effective. Here comes Jordynne.
And it's like, she's just such a big buff lady. Like, you're like, look, man, you don't need to do this. Like, what does doing this? Like, her knees both hit. Just don't do this. Like, why? You're the juggernaut. We want to see you, like, powerhouse ladies around and choke slam them, and, you know, maybe do like a middle rope crossbody or splash onto someone. And then we're like, oh shit, the power, you know? But this is like, come on, Doug.
That's what they call it, high risk. Almost luck. Either way, it was effective. Here comes Jordynne.
Oh man, like, her legs just catch, chat. Boom, her thighs, her big meaty thighs, because you're all big and jacked, and that's fine. That's why we love you. Let Sol Ruka do that. You know what I mean? God damn. I'm just so happy she's okay. And I'm not going to bury Jordynne Grace here, because, yes, as a fan of her, I've seen her hit that. Okay, so it's like, that's just up. It's like it's like burying Nathan Frazier for it. Like, no, dude, he's hit that. He could hit that blindfolded. It's just, it happens. It's unfortunate we had 2 in a row like that. So she responds with a bunch of clips of her hitting this very recently too, built to endure. And then she sort of makes fun of herself at the end. Here's Jordynne.
Imagine the day they see you again.
So like even on PWG, in her PWG days, man, she was hitting it, you know, like clean. So she can hit this. Like,
imagine the day they see you again. And you are just, well, worse.
But see, that one on Tessa was rough too. That landing was rough though. Look, her most recent one. Look at that on Tessa. If Tessa wasn't there, dude, that would have been catastrophic. Just don't do this move unless it's like at Mania. Just save this as like your big
Worse.
Yeah, dude, that other one looked pretty disastrous, man. Jordynne, I love you. I think you're awesome for the NXT division. Don't hurt yourself doing this. Just save it for Stand and Deliver. Save it for Mania or whatever, you know? Like she did it to Tessa Blanchard at Hard to Kill or whatever. I believe that was her last match in TNA, so that's okay. You do it there. But yeah, a little rough around the edges there, no? Okay, so Steve Austin, prior to the NWO returning to the WWF in 2002, burying Hulk Hogan beautifully. Let's take a listen to this.
You got a beautiful wife, and here's a message I was supposed to hand deliver to you. Will you listen for me, Steve?
Sure. Or quote unquote from Hollywood is tell the rattlesnake best thing to do is lock the doors and stay behind him for the rest of his career. That's it. That's all you need to know. If you read anything more into it than that, you're really screwing up. But that's the safest place for him to be is behind closed doors. Out of my way. I could take back what was mine originally anyway.
Any comments on that, Stone Cold? Greatest wrestler of all time telling you he's going to kick your ass.
He just starts laughing. And then this guy goes, the greatest wrestler of all time. Back in the Shock Jock days, the greatest wrestler of all time saying he's going to kick your ass, Stone Cold. What do you think about that?
That was the worst threat I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
Lock the doors, close the doors, stay behind him. He's going to take back what's his. Was a sumbitch talking in his sleep or what?
Well, he told me that, back in the day, even at WCW days, you were just stunning Steve Austin, mid-carder at best, and he was going to whip your ass and, some unfinished business in the WWF. He went there and laid the ground.
Yeah, Stunning Steve. Tell us about your days, Stunning Steve. He was going to kick your ass, Stone Cold.
I'll work for you to got the run you got going right now.
Oh, there's no doubt the guy laid down some groundwork because he was one of the biggest stars back in the 70s. I'm sorry, 80s. As far as a business aspect, I can appreciate what the guy did when he was hot. But the fact is, he ain't hot no more.
Right.
Some bitch has got a lot to prove if he's going to step in the World Wrestling Federation. And that's one thing I expected out of those guys flapping their gums, mostly out of him, because I don't think he can handle the work style anymore. So It's going to be real interesting to see. And he can talk all that. But when that bell rings, it's going to be hilarious because I'm going to chew the summits up like a chainsaw.
But he's so much bigger than you are, Steve.
He's a pussy.
Oh, shit. That's hilarious. So here is Gunther, who is on the Ariel Helwani Show. I implore you all to check this out. The Ariel Helwani Show. I just have a few clips from it, a couple quotes too. Watch the whole thing. It's like an hour and a half long. He always has these wrestlers always show up. Real consummate professionals. You know what I'm saying? Here's what Gunther had to say about the Triple H era in pro wrestling on the Ariel Helwani Show.
So how would you describe working for Paul? How would you describe working for, him as the leader, his vision, the way he does things differently than the previous regime?
Well, I would say to a degree, and obviously he's my boss, and I'm in a very good position at the company right now, but I think to a certain degree that, he saved professional wrestling to a big degree, I think.
Wow.
Because, when I remember when I started 2005, and all the Europeans that kind of tried to get into.
He said he saved pro wrestling
to WWE. It was such a mystery about it, like who to talk to and what to do. It seemed so far away, such an unrealistic point to achieve. And Hannah was the one that pushed for opening that world to WWE and created so many jobs and opportunities back then for so many of the guys like for us, for all the European guys. But then in general, it's just he opened the floodgates for the wrestling world outside of WWE, and I think that's a very
people don't realize, and I talked about this with Grapple Vision, the UK scene, that whole like speaking out movement really that UK scene up like a bunch, like more than anything. They try to blame NXT UK, but yeah, we could dive deep into that too. There's a whole story with that I don't want to get into because I'd butcher it. But yeah, Grapple Vision, it'll come. I don't know if there's a video on it or what. We alluded to it a bit on the pod we did, but there's just more there as far as like that whole what happened with NXT and when it became 2.0 and the speaking out movement and everything. And, what the media gets wrong about a lot of that shit, just because they weren't back there, they didn't know. But I don't know. We'll get into all that another time. So make sure you check out that pod I did with Gary there not too long ago. If you want more context on that. So Big E was asked about Tony Hinchcliffe joking that the only thing stiffer than Michael Cole is Big E's neck last night on WWE Raw. That's terrible. And Big E, though, has a great response. He's like, at my big age of 39 years old, people will say whatever they want about you. It has nothing to do with me. That's not my business. Say what you want. He was given a mic. He was given an opportunity. People will feel how they want to. There's a lot of discourse oftentimes as a public figure. People will say things about you, whether they're jokes, whether they're not, and that is their right. It was said on the show, I'm supposed to talk, especially when things are mentioned about me. I should have an opinion about them. It is tiring to have to weigh in on everyone's opinion or whatever they say. Look, I'm not hurt. I'm good. I want the discourse to be happy without me. Honestly, I didn't sign up for this. I wasn't aware of this. He did what he wanted to. People signed off on it. It has nothing to do with me, truly. So he's just saying, like, I'm good. And, like, we live in a culture where, like, everybody's got to say something about everything. Like, who gives a shit? He made a joke is what he's saying. More or less. So here's Gunther speaking more on this situation here and dropping some common sense about Logan Paul. Or not on this situation. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. More on Ariel Helwani shows. I zoned out for a second. And yeah, he talks about Logan Paul here.
Not too long ago, we had Baron Corbin on Pestock, and he had some choice words to say about Logan Paul, about the way he conducts himself backstage and the route that he took and whatnot. I mean, you're one of the top guys. And again, I say it one more time, throwback in that, you respect the business and the locker room and whatnot. I don't know if you heard any of those comments, but just that general, summary of his sentiment towards Logan. You share that.
I mean, no, I had no bad experience with Logan. I think he's a great addition for us. Crazy athlete, and he picked it up really quick. And I don't know. I don't think his aspirations are to be the best wrestler in the world, and that he doesn't need to. He's very successful on his own, but he has a passion for it, the obvious one, and he committed to being with us, and it's a great addition. And I don't know. Well, I say this at least. I get there's some sentiment towards the outsiders, but if you get offered that private jet and private locker room, none of you would turn it down. Come on, guys.
Do you hear that? None of you would turn it down. Exactly. And actually, Gunther reveals that he got a bus. So where's Gunther here? He said, I negotiated. He said, I signed a new WWE contract and a tour bus was a part of it. I asked for that. What you don't ask for, you don't get, dude. The squeaky wheel gets the oil. So Ricky Saints has discussed his AEW departure and future WWE goals. He says, I want the WWE Championship. I had never spoken to WWE at all before any of that, his AEW release. So when I say it happened so fast, and it never let up off the gas. My aspirations in AEW to just be given a chance and given the ball fully. I want that in WWE. I want the WWE Championship, and along the way, the Intercontinental title would be great. Damn, it's got to feel good to say that, man. Amazing shit. Shout out Ricky Saints. It's Wednesday. You know what that means. We check in with our girl already. Another one. It's Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Ren Sinclair here on Wednesday, which also is on Rusev Day. We got to do something about that, Holidays crossing streams like that.
Hey guys, happy Wednesday. As promised, we have
your Tavion Heights. What it do? You know what it is. That part.
That part.
Yup.
Yeah. Anywho, so on here, I already asked them to ask you questions.
Oh.
So I have a couple.
I'm scared.
The first one. What was your favorite snack while you were in Japan?
Ooh, that's good. That's good. My favorite snack in Japan, it was from the Lawson's gas station. It was called a chicky mart. It was like
Ren is so goddamn funny.
little chicken in the bag, but from the gas station. It was so good.
Like a chicken breast.
But like it was a chicken breast, but it was a chicken thigh. They only do chicken thighs, not chicken breast.
Chicken breast.
A chicky mart chicken.
Okay, cute. Next question. Who is your favorite member of the NQCC, and why is it Ren?
Your handwriting you need to work on it. But
And why is it
my
Ren?
favorite member of the NQCC
And why is it Ren?
would have to be my tag team partner, Miles Bourne. But
Okay, next question. Next question. What's it like being the leader of the Ren QCC? Oh, sorry, that one was for me. It's pretty
good. Yo, come on. What's it like being the leader of the Ren QCC? Oh, sorry, that's me. It's so.
What's it like being the leader of the Ren QCC? Oh, sorry, that one was for me. It's pretty good.
It's good though.
Hold on, let me find yours.
All right, that's great.
Are you dating Charles?
Next question.
But that one's for her. Oh shit. There we go. Ren's Day. Love it. Fuck, she pops me every time. So this guy here, I don't know why this is bookmarked. You are good at editing videos. Oh, here, he requested this. So here's a splice here's Triple H. He was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he talks about his match with Ultimate Warrior, right? And what it meant to him and how he loved it and all this shit. And then someone spliced it with him on the Ultimate Warrior DVD, like burying Ultimate Warrior or whatever. Let's listen to this.
You made your WrestleMania debut at WrestleMania 12.
Yes.
It was you versus the one and only, the Ultimate Warrior. This is you up here.
That is,
Yeah.
that is me. That is me before I would tragically land in the middle of the ring before getting beaten. For a lot of people, they think this is almost an embarrassing moment in my career for me, where I was basically squashed in a couple of minutes by the Ultimate Warrior.
But also, like, maybe his mind's changed on this shit, because everyone was tasked with burying Warrior on the DVD. And someone was like, yeah, but that interview that they used on the DVD from Triple H was from 3 years prior. And I was like, yeah, but still, like, that is just, he knew everyone knew what Vince wanted to hear about Warrior, you know?
But for me, it was my first WrestleMania, and two, the Ultimate Warrior is one of the biggest stars ever in the WWE.
When I finally got to the arena that day, I got to find out how big of a squad the Ultimate Warrior really is.
So when they came to me and said, you're going to get to work with the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania, I was just out of my mind excited.
That day I went in the ring at WrestleMania and I stood in front of a sold out.
Yeah, when he was the champion and he's getting this big push from Vince. Come on, dude.
Anaheim Pond, and I did what I had to do, and I wrestled the Ultimate Warrior to the best of my ability.
And sort of that to me is one of my greatest memories of just it being, it's like going to the Super Bowl and, you know,
yeah,
you got to throw against Brady or something like that. It was just such a great experience for me.
So Triple H just said, so this is what it was. In that interview from back in the day, Triple H was just working. And he was just like saying what the sentiment was about Warrior backstage and what he knew Vince wanted to be said about him. But at the same time, he just said it. On one hand, he summated everything he said on one hand in that earlier interview from the 90s, early 2000s or whatever. Like he reiterated that same shit just in more depth on Jimmy Fallon. So I think that's consistent.
You made your WrestleMania.
I don't think it's a change up, to be honest. I just think like people did not like Warrior back then. So comedian Bert Kreischer, speaking of comedians now, I don't know. He did the funny thing with Otis. He took the shirt off. I just thought it was kind of cringe. I'm not going to lie. And then Hinchcliffe was on commentary. It didn't, like, I don't know. He had little snarky remarks. It wasn't that funny. Like, I don't think they should have put him on commentary like that. I don't know. It just doesn't work. They should have just did a WrestleMania roast on Netflix and just go, he's producing and writing it and shit, and then let him bring Jeffrey Ross and Nikki Glazer and just do what you did for Brady, but just go, we're doing it for WWE. You know, that's all they should have did with this thing. But instead, I don't know. Bert can be incorporated, whatever. I know that it's funny because Bert is known for being like a sloppy drunk who will never give up drinking. And Punk is like a straight edge dude. They managed to get along. I'm not like I'm not like a overly a Bert Kreischer hater, but I just think he's cringe. I'm not going to lie. And he comes out and he does what he does here. This is like after Raw went off the air or some shit. And for those of you unfamiliar with Bert, he's a stand-up comedian. The movie Van Wilder is based on his life. Like, he was this party guy who stayed in college for like 7 years or whatever. And he was like known for partying to the point where I think like Rolling Stone wrote an article on him. And then they made that movie Van Wilder that was like based on his life. I think he sold it or whatever. I can't remember. Like, it was being shopped around, and then they got, you know, they obviously get Ryan Reynolds to play him or whatever. And yeah, he then became like a stand-up comedian, and he became funny for this story he told about where he's like, oh, I was in Russia and got involved with the Russian mafia when I was in like university or something. And then a whole movie got made about that called The Machine or whatever. But his stand-up's like not that good. His new special Lucky just came out. I guess go check that out. I'm just not like a big fan. I think he's kind of cringe. And yeah, that's who he is. He's just a comedian who's like real blown up right now. And the reason they have him also doing this is because it's brand integration. Like his special drops on Netflix. Kill Tony's on Netflix now. And yeah, so that's why they're incorporating these guys in this stuff.
Hey, you take care of him. I'll take care of him.
Like, I don't know. This is what I like. Bert seemingly like takes it serious. Like his timing is terrible in the ring, but he at least is like selling the game. He's not in there like laughing like Steve-O was when Steve-O was all up. You know, like he tells the story when Umaga like beat him up and shit. You know, he tells the story he was like struggling with addiction and stuff then. So obviously I'm sure if he had another chance he wouldn't. But like that shit pisses me off when they don't like at least lean into it. Like look at Bert, he's selling the game. He's like dead serious here. Crowds popping. That's all you can ask for. Hey, I'm not a fan of like I show speed. And it's not even that I'm not a fan of Bert. I'm just like, I like when people make fun of Bert. You know what I mean? That's how I'll put. I'm a fan of like laughing at him, not really with him and his jokes. You know what I'm saying? Which he takes the piss out of himself, and that's the whole idea, right? Here we go. And then he like did a good working punch. He's like, you ready? You ready? He like said it to him kind of. He took it serious. Like he sold the game. I really did enjoy this. And even the Otis thing, it's like, yeah, it's kind of cringe. He chugs a beer after, because at first with the Otis thing, I was like, oh, he takes his shirt off. Maybe that's funny to like kids, you know? Oh, two fat guys, but sounds like an MJF promo, you know? But then he chugged the beer later, and that's sort of more of his gimmick. And WWE is more like, especially the later the show goes, especially Raw, it's more, you know, adult oriented, if you will, I guess. It's TV 14 or whatever. Is it, or is it still PG? I actually don't know anymore. I don't know. It's just on Netflix now. But yeah, shout out Bert for taking it serious. Same as Schultz, right? I had the same criticism. I was like, man, I'm not really a big fan of his stand-up or whatever. But he like took it seriously, so bonus points, right? Same thing goes to Bert here, you know? He got in the ring pretty quick. I didn't even see it. See, timing off on the choke slam. Thank God Austin Theory is such a professional. Look, Burt tries to lift him right away. He thinks it's like a catching choke slam, you know, not on watch. He goes to lift right away. Thank God Theory, though, is just a pro. And then he does the same to Waller. Look, like when Burt catches him, he thinks that's when the choke slam goes down. He doesn't know he's supposed to like milk it for 1 second, but that's all good. He took it serious. And his ass cracks out. Oh my God. I hope Red Bar watches this, dude. I want his reaction. That's all I can say. They're crossing over with all the celebrities, dude. Carl Anderson has taken a shot at WWE while discussing Kevin Owens' injury on Talkin' Shop. He says, I don't know his injury status. I don't want to comment on that. Here's what I'm going to go with. If Kevin is really hurt, which I'm not saying he is or isn't, I don't have any idea. I haven't followed. I'm barely involved. I'm just going to say this. I hope if he's really hurt and he has surgery, I hope he's not released 2.5 months after the major surgery. That's all I'm going to say. Damn, spicy Carl Anderson. Moving along. Here's Gunther. He has comments on the 4 months he worked under Vince McMahon.
With that, actually. It's I was under Vince for 4 months or something.
A brief period, yeah.
And yeah, it was strange work experience.
Can I ask why?
I would say it was kind of like the direction was very confusing. Like it was hard to figure out what was expected of me, which usually is never an issue with that. I was always, but at the end of the day, everything came around for me. It was lucky often in my
Vince likes body guys
career in terms of timing. I was at the right place at the right time very often. But yeah, overall, I'm 100%.
You were Walter before I got my hands on you. You piece of shit. You're hot. No, I know. He's going to join the Kiss My Ass Club. Yeah. You want to question me? You were Walter, pal. I turned you into Gunther. Yeah. And I even almost named you after a Yahtzee. There we go. I said Yahtzee, like the dice game, right?
In my whole career in WWE was like my directions came from Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
With that, actually, it's I was under Vince for 4 months or something.
A brief period, yeah.
And yeah, it was strange.
Oh, sorry, that was the clip. It just looped around on me like that. You know what I mean? Layla confirms she will be in attendance for Michelle McCool's Hall of Fame induction. Yeah. What else? We have this is gonna likely get flagged, but because it's a bop, and I love this song genuinely. There's Liv Morgan talking shit and roasting Logan Paul about his Max show, his show on Max. That's consistently like number 4 and 5 and 6. People are telling me.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You want an autograph or something?
No.
What did you think?
I thought your dad was funny. Yeah.
Really?
He's a real star for sure.
You guys aren't the first person to tell me that. You guys love the show, just can't get enough of it.
Really?
Stu?
Likes his dad.
No.
Stu?
Stu, the cameraman.
Stu? Really?
Yeah. He loves it.
You didn't watch it.
He did. He was like, I gotta see episode 2. So.
I don't think that's Stu said that.
He did. No, yeah. Well, that's what I was gonna mention, Liv. Just because I care about you, I really do. And yeah, no, just here. Let me see. It's your choice. It's your body. You do what you want to do. Your body, your choice. Prime is a much cleaner version of that energy drink.
I believe you.
Just because I want to remind you, the last time I gave you
Selling the game. Sugar-free Red Bulls are king, though. I don't care what anyone says.
Prime Energy, you won the championship.
I'm gonna win the championship because of that. You watch your show.
Oh, you.
Yeah, so just roasting each other. I don't know. Here's Punk imitating Rollins with Burnt Chrysler again. That's funny. He does the walk so good. Just cooking Rollins, man. Oh, I'm hyped for Mania. Okay, we have the WWE ID Championship Tournament opening round. Zeta Steel versus Kylie Ray is going down soon. And Triple H is teasing us about the WrestleMania stage with Nick Khan. So let's take a look at this.
WrestleMania for me is not just about one match. It is about the spectacle of the entire event. So I'm looking to see all those fans, see their faces when they see that set. And as the night goes on, if I had to pick one, I'll go Cody Rhodes, John Cena.
For me, I'm excited that WrestleMania is coming to Las Vegas. This is where I was born. I had the good fortune of being at WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace 30 plus years ago, and to bring it back.
So that's why we're getting the documentary about 9 right there. We just figured it out. Pieced it together right there, this video. That's why we're getting that Peacock documentary, because Nick Khan just went and haggled that, because that's his favorite Mania right there. Love that. I just realized that. Tony Hinchcliffe, according to Fightful Gossip, those spoken to backstage in WWE admitted that Tony Hinchcliffe's spot on Raw came across as a dud. They also said he was very respectful at the show. Yeah, like he loves wrestling and shit, you know, but did it come across as a dud? Yeah, it was. I don't know why. You just don't book it. You don't cross it over this way. Do the wrestling roast, but just announce it like the roast of Tom Brady. Every year, Netflix just do a roast. This year, we're roasting Mania. That's all they had to do. That's all they had to do. And if WrestleMania wants to do it every year, okay, then do it every year around the same time. But just, yeah, just make it more of a Netflix thing than a WWE thing. That's all, you know? Because unless they're going to get in the ring like Brent Christensen there with his big old beer belly out. So finally in WWE news, here is Tiffany Stratton giving her thoughts. We got Flair's thoughts on Charlotte Flair's and Tiffany's throwdown. You guys got mine and Awful's thoughts over on Patreon. Now the female locker room is providing us an excerpt from the Babyfaces podcast. Here's Tiffany Stratton giving her piece on, I guess, what went down in that moment and what she was thinking. Hopefully we get some insight here.
She really expected me to stand up to her, and I don't think she expected me to I guess almost clap back, and I think I kind of look, all I have to say is it's live TV. Stakes are high. We're going into WrestleMania. I have the title. I want to keep the title. And I'm gonna pull out every stop that I can.
Maybe like you guys have to here. Let's fantasy mark book this for a second. This is allegedly, and I have a couple allegedlys as well. What if like the word is like Charlotte's gonna get the belt, and Tiffy was like, "No, you guys need to stick with me. I'm telling you." Maybe that was her just like, "Hey, I gotta prove it." Like in pro wrestling, you have to. That's what all the goats will tell you. You have to prove it. Yes, let's finish what Tiffy has to say.
And people want to see our match. And I think that we did a very good job of getting people wanting to see our match and invested in our story. And now I'm ready to put on the best women's match ever, and I'm ready to go to war.
Yeah, it could be a work though as well. So these allegedlys, I'm not going to show them because I don't want to. So Karrion Kross's contract is coming up soon, and like Dirt Sheets have already talked about that, right? But allegedly he's obviously going to lose to AJ, but how he's booked in this match might indicate sort of like which way this is going to go for him in WWE, as far as because he does want to do more movies and shit, and we played his movie trailer.